Russell from mining.com.au, and joining me today all the way from Quebec is Benoit LaSalle, the President and CEO of AR Gold and Silver. Benoit, it's great to see you again. How are you?
Thank you. It's great. It's great to see you. Your French accent is great. You can move to Quebec anytime. You're doing extremely well. It's a pleasure to be with you again, and looking forward to seeing you shortly.
Yes, so just for everybody watching, you and I first met at the Rule Symposium in 2023, where I was an MC for one of your events. And I must say to everybody listening, I'm a little bit of a cynic, but I was absolutely blown away by your presentation about AR Gold and Silver, and I couldn't believe that it was on my radar. So I absolutely wanted to put you on the radar of more people. We don't have a long time to catch up today, so you and I'll have to do that over a margarita in a week. Let's start with your incredible silver deposit that you're working on. Now, you and the management team came over to take over AR Gold and Silver. Listen, talk me through some of your assets in Morocco.
Well, you're absolutely right. We came over exactly 4 years ago when this company was struggling. We found two assets, one called Zgounder, which is a producing mine, and one called Boumadine, which was a project which at the time was in care and maintenance. They had not done real geology in the past years. We came in, we brought in technology, geophysics, satellite imagery. And since we took over 4 years ago, we increased our balance sheet of resource, which is the only thing that counts to create value. When we took over, we had 10 million ounces of silver equivalent. And today we have 450 million ounces of silver equivalent coming from the two assets. One is in production and has a 11-year mine life, but growing. And the other one is not yet in production. We are in kind of the scoping study, and over the next 2 years, we'll complete feasibility. There are two world-class assets in Morocco producing. Zgounder is producing only silver. So we are a true silver company because we're only producing silver. And what's interesting at Zgounder is as of now, we are finishing the third plant because there was two plants when we arrived. And next year, we'll be producing 7 million ounces of silver in the low quartile cost curve, below $10 an ounce. And we have, as I said, an 11-year mine life at Zgounder, but we only have touched one structure out of many. So it's a project that will have many, many years of mine life. And it's profitable. It's making money, and the beauty is that the three plants are built. We've spent 150 million in the past 18 months, and we have announced beginning of commissioning, and we'll have the first silver pour in the next few days. So very, very interesting time. This is a big scoop for you. Very interesting.
It is.
Time.
I'm thrilled to be here.
And Zgounder is coming right along. Now, the second asset called Boumadine, well, it's a discovery that you see once every, 30 or 50 years. We've put in 94,000 meters of drilling in the last 2 years, and we've discovered there 350 million ounces of silver equivalent in 18 months of drilling and 94,000 meters of drilling. So imagine once we're up to 1 million meters of drilling, this will be probably one of the top projects in Africa. It's silver, it has gold, it has a bit of copper, lead, and zinc. So we are holding right now in Aya two world-class assets that are developing. And the beauty is one is generating cash. Zgounder will be generating next year, based on the silver price, about 150 million US dollar of operating cash flow, which is sufficient for us to complete the exploration on the other assets and just keep exploring the first asset.
Now, listen, I always start these interviews with a bit of a plan of where we're going to go. But based on what you said, I'm going to completely derail today because you've talked about you've got your first pour happening any day now, which is incredible. I believe you're in the process of electrifying sites. So you're essentially becoming green, aren't you?
We are. The power line was put into action last weekend. We're doing all the tests right now, and you're right. This mine is 100% green energy. Our Scope 2 emissions are going down by 88%. And it's probably one of the first mine in the world, which will be all the wind power, and it's coming from the Moroccan wind farms, and it's quite a very powerful grid, and all of that is going to give us about 15% savings on our power costs because wind power in Morocco is much cheaper than the regular grid power.
That's just incredible. Now, to skip back to another thing you mentioned in your first question, is you touched on how you've only really drilled out one structure. I believe you've got an astounding quality resource that's still really yet to be fully explored, haven't you?
Absolutely. So on the first project, when we started, we had like 30 square kilometers, and now we have 400 and square kilometers of ground in an area which we see is a VMS system. It's volcanic massive sulfide with tons of historical mining dating back to the Romans 2,000 years ago. So we've only touched the top of the structure. The current structure goes down 700 meters, and we're hitting great results at depth. So we've only started the exploration, and that's on our first structure, on our first project, which is called Gounder. So you're absolutely right. There's so much more to come, but Gounder is the highest silver grade in the world. I mean, you saw this week we put out some more results. I mean, it's always in the thousands of gram per ton of silver, and so it's very unique, and it's pure native silver, which is also very rare.
What makes pure native silver very rare?
It just doesn't exist. If you look at all silver mines, it's always a byproduct of lead, of zinc, of copper, of gold. But pure 100% silver mines, they're very rare. They exist in Morocco. I'm told some are in Russia and China. Extremely rare because it's native silver. The geology is what's called low sulfidation deposits, and they're extremely rare. They're very hard to find, but they're extremely rare, and this is one of them with one of the highest grade in the world.
Now, you have mentioned throughout today's conversation that your projects are located in Morocco. Let's be honest, most Australians aren't familiar with mining deposits outside Western of Australia, let alone outside the rest of Australia. So, why should investors consider Morocco? Because you've mentioned Africa, and sometimes there might be negative connotations associated to that. But Morocco really is a stunning mining jurisdiction.
It is. It is. People are not familiar with Morocco. It's normal because it's been in hiding for the last 100 years. It's the number one phosphate producer in the world. They have 700 years of mine life in their phosphate mines, and they've kept it like this for the past 100 years. We Aya started operating 10 years ago. We're the only non-Moroccan company operating really in country. We have 600 square kilometers of ground, and the geology has never been touched. It was seen by the Romans 2,000 years ago. Locally, they did a little bit of work, but never brought in the technology, the geophysics, the satellite imagery, and all that, which we do bring in now. So the jurisdiction is unique. I really believe, and I've been in mining for almost 30 years now, I really believe that it's up there with Australia. I think it's better than Canada. It probably compares to some of the American states where mining is welcome. In Morocco, mining is more than welcome. They help you. They have subsidies for the capex. They have subsidies for training of the employees. It's a very unique regime, financial regime for mining, and I've never seen this anywhere else. I've built mine all over Africa. I've even built one mine in China. I have never seen something like Morocco. I think once it gets to be well understood, it will be ranking number one in the world as mining jurisdiction. Foreign exchange is accepted, foreign ownership, repatriation of profit. There's no free carried interest by the government. It is one of the best jurisdiction in the world, if not the best. And we are the dominating company that is traded on an exchange on the TSX, or and which people have access to our shares. and and the geology is the best. I mean, it hasn't been touched in 100 years, so we're finding things at surface because it's never been seen or reviewed historically. So it's a look. It's a sometimes you need all the ducks to be aligned. So here, all the ducks are aligned. The management team is aligned. We own 50% of this company at the board. So that's quite unique. And so it's all aligned. And I think we're getting into a very strong silver market and strong silver market, great jurisdiction, fantastic results, good production. I really believe that Aya is the next big success in mining.
Listen, Benoit, you summed that up exactly the way I was going to sum that up. Aya is definitely a fantastic story that's building. So glad I was able to bring it to an Australian audience. And thank you so much for being here today. I look forward to seeing you in a couple of days.
Well, look, I'm going to hold you up for the margarita. So we will have margarita in the next few days. We're it's definitely in writing. We're good for
It
margarita in
absolutely is.
a few days.
Sworn contract in front of the public. Thank you for being here, Benoit, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
It's not too late to come along to the Rural Symposium in Boca Raton, Florida, starting this 7th of July. If you want to come along either in person or virtually, head to mining.com.au. Click on the events tab, look for the Rural logo, and register your details from there.